Let's first start off with our series from n equals 0 to infinity of 1 over n plus 1 minus 1 over n plus 2. So the first type of telescoping series that we'll be dealing with is having this fraction being bigger than this one. And also the coefficient of n is 1. So that's the first case. So the way to handle this is to see how far apart is the n plus 1 with n plus 2. We know that they're 1 apart from each other. So therefore you're going to have one term of 1 over n plus 1. So that's going to be the first term when n equals 0, which is just 1. So this series converges to 1. Let's look at another one. Let's say if we have from n equals 2 to infinity, 1 over n minus 1 minus 1 over n plus 3. We know n minus 1 and n plus 3 are 4 apart from each other. So therefore we're going to have 4 terms, I guess the first 4 terms, of 1 over n minus 1. So you're going to have 4 terms, so n equals 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's just going to be 1 plus 1/2 plus 1/3 plus 1/4, which is just 25 over 12. Okay, now what happens in the second case when the first number is smaller? Well, you can convert this as, well, I can factor out the negative, and I'll have 1 over n plus 1 minus 1 over n plus 2. And then I can go a step further and just factor this thing out. So now the first number is greater, so this is greater than 1 over n plus 2, and so we're back in the previous case. Okay, so we know that these are only 1 apart from each other. So we're only going to have one term of 1 over n plus 1, and that's when n is equal to 1. Okay, so that's going to be 1/2, but because we have the negative out here, we know that this is going to be negative 1/2. Let's do another one. Okay. So we know that 1 over n plus 1 is smaller than 1 over n minus 1. So what we're going to do is factor out a negative and just going to switch the order. And then we know that these two are 2 apart from each other. So we're going to have 2 terms of 1 over n minus 1. So that's going to be first when n equals 2, we get 1. And then when n equals 3, we get 1/2. But don't forget, we still have the negative out here, so we want to put the negative outside. And so we get negative 3/2 as our answer.